Hello, and welcome to this, which is Dave's Delights. And as always, I'm Dave, and I'm delighted to see you. But I'm extra delighted today because today is the first episode of a new series that I'm doing called Side Dish Saturdays. And for my first side dish, I'm going to take a recommendation from my Aunt Pam. She asked for Parmesan Orzo with peas, which is, Orzo is one of those things that makes a great side dish. It's a type of pasta. It looks kind of like rice. And you can put anything you want into it, and it's going to come out delicious because it's it's going to absorb whatever flavors you use. So let's start off. And the nice thing about this is that these are going to be quicker recipes. So I'm going to have one, sometimes two, every Saturday, so that you can have some stuff besides the mains, or just if you just like sides. So to start off, here's what we have for the ingredients for today. We have 1/2 onion diced, 3 cloves of garlic that are minced, and as always, I like using, well, not always, always when I'm using minced garlic in these kind of things, I tend to like the pre-minced. Just makes life a lot easier and faster for me. Can I mince my garlic myself? Absolutely. Does this save me some time and I don't really notice a major difference in flavor? Yes. So you can decide for yourselves, but I would say you can skip a couple of minutes here. We have 1 teaspoon of salt that's divided. And I've got it divided into a 1/4 teaspoon and 3/4 teaspoon. That'll make more sense while we're cooking. I have 1½ ounces of grated Parmesan, which is going to start off for me as a block of Parmesan. If you've got the shaker, no problem. Go ahead and use that. But I like grating it fresh. We have 1½ cups of dried Orzo, which, as you can see, and remember, wash your hands, just looks like grains of rice, but it happens to actually be pasta. We have 32 ounces of chicken broth, which you have, if you've ever seen these boxes are 32 ounces. So it's a whole box of chicken broth. And then 3/4 cup of frozen peas. And if you don't like peas, you could substitute a baby spinach that you've kind of chopped. And then a lemon. And the lemon, we're going to grate the zest. And then we're going to have half of the lemon for juicing. And we're going to take all this over to the cooktop because I'm going to cook this. It's a 1-pot deal, so I'm going to cook this in the Dutch oven. I will see you over there. As you can see, I've got one of my trusty Dutch ovens here, which is perfect for a 1-pot meal like Orzo. So we've got that centered over a medium flame, and it's heating up. And I'm going to take the one thing I forgot to mention at the opening, which is 3 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to drop that in. And we're going to let that start melting while we're getting everything ready for the rest of this dish. So we got to spread that around. I'm going to let that melt down until it shimmers. Well, basically until it's melted, or at least mostly melted, before I start putting on the onions and the garlic. Nice thing about the Dutch oven is it's got a really even heat source. I mean, it really does hold the heat very evenly across the whole surface. So this, once it's getting warm, it's going to melt this nice and quick, as you can see. So we're about halfway there, which means I feel confident to put in my onions and my garlic. It's a bunch of garlic, but that's going to make this taste really, really good. And you just got to let this go until the onions have sweated themselves out a little bit. You want to keep an eye on it because you don't want to burn the garlic. And you might have to adjust the heat. But we're going to let this now saute, or really just sweat, until until the onions are where we want them to be. And I will be back with you once we're there. As you can see, the onions have softened up and things are starting to look a little bit golden brown. So we're going to add the 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And that's kosher salt that I'm using. Stir that in. And now I'm going to add the Orzo. And I got to stir that around just a little bit. And we're going to kind of just let that brown just a little bit in this butter. Just going to be about 30 seconds. And in about, I don't know, maybe at the most 2 minutes. But you'll be able to tell as it's going to start browning up, It's going to give off a really nice toasty smell. And then it'll be time to add our box of broth. And this here seems like a lot, but remember, there's a cup and a half of pasta in here. It's going to end up absorbing. Going to give this a nice stir. And I'm going to bring that temperature back up to high because I want this to boil now. And then we'll bring it down into a, we're going to bring it down to a simmer. All right, we are now at a simmer. So we're going to bring the temperature back to medium low because we want to keep the simmer, but we don't want it to boil over. And then I'm going to put that extra, the second part of the 3/4 teaspoon of salt. So now we have all the salt in, and this is going to have to simmer uncovered for 10 to 12 minutes. Now, if it happens that it dries out before the pasta is ready, because remember, this isn't rice, this is pasta. So at the 10-minute mark, you want to give it a check and see if it's soft enough. If it's not, and we're out of liquid, you can add 2 tablespoons at a time, a little bit more water just to keep it moist until it's all the way cooked through. But you can see how thirsty this stuff is. It's already starting to absorb the chicken broth. So this is going to simmer for 10 minutes. Then I'm going to check it. I'm going to get back to you at either 10 or 12 minutes, depending on how close it is to done. Now it's been 12 minutes, and as you can see, it has basically fully absorbed the liquid, and I've tasted it, and the pasta is perfectly the way I want it. So I'm now going to add the zest of 1 lemon, the 3/4 cup of frozen peas, which are now mostly frozen peas, and I'm squeezing in about 2 tablespoons, maybe a little bit more, about a half a lemon. And I'm going to grab, oops, luckily, wash your hands. I've got a lemon seed, which I'm not going to be able to get out of there. Oh, well. I thought I'd gotten them all, but I missed one. There's this. I've got the oven or the stovetop is now set to off. We are done cooking. We are stirring this through. Now, before I plate, I'm going to let this sit for a while so the peas can heat all the way through with the cover on. And then before I plate, I'm going to taste it to make sure I don't need to add any other salt or some more lemon juice. And I'm going to put cracked pepper on the top. But we'll talk about that at final prep. All right, we'll see you back at the workstation. And we're ready for final preparations. Now, this being our first time doing this for the Side Dish Saturday, the thing to understand is normally I would put these directly to the plate along with my main course. And all these meals are ones that I eat myself. This is my dinner tonight with myself and my wife, so we will, after plating, I'm going to go with a normal plate later. But this will be so you can see it on its own. Normally I use my bare hands for this, but today I have my nice matching hand protector. And this is all warmed through, minus the glove. Give it a nice stir. And it smells amazing. So I'm going to get a portion. As you can see, it's very thick and creamy. And I'm going to make it creamier. I'm going to take this Parmesan, because this one's for my wife. As you guys know, I'm not a huge fan, but this is why I do it at the end rather than in the middle of the dish. Now, if everybody wants Parmesan, you can stir in your grated Parmesan when you put the peas in. But because I'd like to have some that I could eat too, I do it as a finisher here. I'm use my good hand for this. And I'm going to grate on pretty much however much you think is the right amount, because personal preferences significantly vary. And I'm going to give it just a little more squeeze of lemon. And we'll give this a little stir to get that Parmesan cheese mixed in. And I'm going to take a little bit of chopped parsley, just as a garnish. And give it that little parsley treatment. And then a little cracked pepper for the top. And now you have a beautiful side dish. This is Parmesan Orzo with peas. And I hope you guys enjoy it. And I hope you've enjoyed this first of my side dish Saturdays. I look forward to making them more for you guys in the future. By all means, let me know what you'd like me to make. I've got all kinds of stuff up my sleeve, and I can always figure out how to make what you want. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I look forward to seeing you guys again. Have a wonderful evening. Bon appetit.